Okay, so besides calligraphy,
another class was religion. And since the majority of citizens in Romania are Greek Orthodox, that was the religion that everybody had to take. And they would teach you the sign of the cross, they teach you prayers. And one of the interesting things was the teacher, I remember her always doing the sign of the cross backwards, because the rest of the kids in the class, if they saw her do it the right way, then they would do it backwards. So she'd always...
So let me explain. That would be, you touch your forehead, then you touch your, like around your solar plexus,
Right.
even stomach, maybe chest, and then to your left shoulder, and then finally you touch your right shoulder, and that is called the sign of the cross.
Right.
So she did it the opposite way, so the kids wouldn't be confused.
Exactly. Right. And she would teach religion usually, and then maybe once a month or something, they'd have the priest come in, sprinkle holy water on the students, and...
Which is a form of blessing.
Yes, a form of blessing, and he'd say prayers with all of them. And we actually didn't have to take religion the first year. My parents had us exempted from it. The second year, it wasn't so much not being exempted from it. We probably could have been, but since it was in the middle of our school day, it was easier for us to just sit through it than go home for an hour and then have to come back.
And are you glad looking back now that you did it?
Oh, yes. The just the cultural aspects of seeing a different religion and understanding too that everybody has. For me, it was understanding everybody has their own way of believing, and even though you might not believe in another religion, you still need to respect it. And I think that was really good for us, sitting through another class and seeing everyone partake in that.
All right, I want to ask you something now. I hear lots of programs on the radio all the time, and I see books on this that are always talking about how the Muslims want to destroy everybody else. And I know that you also were around Muslims. You told me that you were. In this case, I don't know whether you were around any there.
Oh, yeah, the gypsies in school were Muslims.
Okay, do people need to be afraid of the Muslims out to did you find that they were out to destroy you? Did they ever kill you?
No, you've got two different kinds of Muslims. You've got your traditional, non-threatening Muslims, and then you have the extremists, which you're going to have in any kind of religion. And the only thing is, with the Muslims, or Islam, you've got the extremist terrorists that actually want to hurt people. It's not just trying to make people believe like them. If you don't believe like them, then they believe that you should die.
Well, they hurt Muslims. They kill Muslims.
Right. Oh, yeah, they hurt other Muslims. But the Muslims that I went to school with, that I grew up with, that I was friends with, they were very non-threatening. I never met one that thought that Americans should die, or anyone that didn't believe like them should die. Now, I do know that they exist, but the majority of Muslims are not, they're not, what would you say, they're not terrorists, they're not violent people.
Well, they're very much like us. No one, including myself, no one that I have interviewed who has actually lived with these people, spent time around them, no one feels like they need to worry about the Muslims taking them over. But on the American radios, I hear it all the time.
No, I think it's funny. Like, for one, when they say Islam is a religion of peace, I can see where people can say, no, it's not, because there are a lot of extremist Muslims that are not peaceful. But as far as your regular traditional Muslim, which the majority of people are the traditional Muslims, they are not extremists, they are not terrorists, they don't wish to harm people, they aren't violent. They're very peaceful people.
Did people get in fights at school, though? No matter who?
Oh, yes, and especially between the gypsies who are Muslims and the Romanian kids. A lot of fights went on. And my brother, since he was an American, he was constantly, people wanted to beat him up just because he was the American in school. He got in a lot of fights. My brother, he was fighting with this boy, and I was afraid the boy was going to knock him down. And since my brother had already had several concussions as a kid, I was really worried about him. So I remember his backpack was sitting on the side of the ice. So I picked it up, and I kind of like slid onto the ice and hit this kid over the head with the backpack that was like full of books. And he fell on the ice instead. And my brother was saved. I didn't have to worry about him having a concussion. So some of the kids you didn't fight with anybody who had an older sibling in another grade, especially in the same school. You didn't want to fight with them because their older brother or sister would come to school and beat you up at the end of the school day. They'd be waiting for you outside of your class.
Did you ever do that for your brother?
Oh, for some of my younger brothers and sisters, yes. One of my younger sisters, she was in 1st or 2nd grade, got knocked up and down the steps by this little kid. He was so short too. He was probably like half her size. Knocked her down the steps, but she was afraid of confronting him because she knew that he had an older brother in school. So she came home.
Oh,
and
so she's thinking about that too.
yeah. Then she came home and she said, "No, I'm kind of worried, but this boy pushed me down the steps, and he tried to do it a couple days ago too, but today when I fell down, I got hurt a little bit, and I'm afraid he's going to keep doing this. He's really bullying me." So I went to school the next day and waited for him to come out, and I wasn't stupid. I never waited by you never waited by their classrooms door, because if they saw you or something, then they might go back into the classroom and call their older brother or sister and say, "Hey, somebody's waiting for me outside my classroom. I can't get out."
So you mean everybody, what was this kind of school where the classrooms all go to the outside?
No, they all went inside. And then, so instead I asked my sister, there were like 3 different doors that he could come out of the school. And I said, "Which door does he come out of every day? Tell me, because I want to get him after he comes out and his brother or sister is already in the school and I don't have to worry about them." And so, because I think she said like they met him outside of his class every day just to say hi. So he came out of the door, so she said, "Well, he comes out the back door." So I waited out the back door with her, and all of a sudden he came out the door and she's like, "That's him, that's him." And this kid was so little. So I picked him up by his jacket, and I kind of like held him about 2 feet off the ground, and I said, "I heard that you've been beating up my little sister." He's like, "No, that's not me." I said, "Oh, I'm pretty sure it's you." And he said, "Well, I'm not going to do it again." I said, "No, you're not." I said, "Because I'm only one of 6 brothers and sisters that she has, and if you do anything to her, it's going to be really bad how it ends. We'll all come to school next time." He never touched her again, needless to say.
And you didn't have to get violent.
No, you don't have to get violent. You just have to scare him. Words usually do a lot more than violence does.